2-minute warning, folks. 2 minutes till showtime. Joined by head coach Tyler Haynes, as usual. We'll talk about last week's game against Newberry, the upcoming game against Wingate, and some other features in tonight's broadcast as well. Thanks for tuning in on Memories Radio. Thanks for joining us live here at City Tavern, and thanks to the folks at City Tavern for sponsoring our show again this year. And our staff tonight taking care of you out there, Haley, Savannah, Sam, and Kayla, and Tina behind the bar. So give them a thank you for taking good care of you. And Coach, you have a lot of shout-outs you want to give before we get started, so go ahead.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you all. There's a packed house in here, and we're just thankful for everybody that shows up this week in and week out. Thank you to all our listeners out there on YouTube. This show continues to get bigger and better every single week, and just so thankful for you. Would like to thank President Nelson and his family for being in attendance. Would like to thank the Graham family for sponsoring the show. Would like to thank Michelle Cadigan, our entire athletic department. Would like to thank the Dees family, Maddox, for everyone in the development office for putting on this show. Again, most importantly, want to thank our friends, our families, the alums that tune into this every single week. And one new addition that happened last week on the show. A good friend of mine, Mike Casey, brought up the idea to put a QR code on the YouTube feed. And thank you for everyone that donated last week through that QR code. Thank you again for everyone that will do that this week. We're so thankful for the support everywhere around our program, going directly to us and to our young men to build this into a championship football team. And we look forward to continuing to do that.
Coach, watch your team play. You're certainly on the way to building a championship team, and you've had some championship performances out there. If the game was just 1 minute shorter, it'd be a lot different. So it's kind of like you're living at Heartbreak Hotel. So
let's get out of there.
It's like you're on extended stay, so let's get out of there. So let's talk about the Newberry game. A tough defensive struggle in the first half. It was only 6-0 at halftime. You guys muffed a punt and gave them an easy score for a 6-0 halftime score. But what was working so well for your team defensively in the first half against Newberry?
Yeah, credit to Coach T. Overman and that defensive staff. Coach Hubbard, who's also in attendance. The entire defensive staff put a great plan together. What we did is we became more aggressive. You know, after self-scout, you look at kind of what's working for you, what's not. Who are you? A kind of a reevaluation. And what we have found is our guys perform better when they're attacking, which makes sense, but blitzing and pressure and their strengths and weaknesses to every offensive call, every defensive call. But going into that, I thought we put a great plan together, which was be ultra-aggressive, and it worked to most extent.
And then on the other side, was Newberry doing anything that you didn't expect to stymie your offense a little bit in that first half?
Newberry has a good defense. That's what they hang their hat on. They are probably, up to date, the best defensive team we had faced. And I don't want to go back to injuries, not going to talk a whole lot about it. I do have some good news, though, that Preston Brown and Bo Pryor are both healthy and happy through surgery and doing well, and got to see those guys. So they're back on their road to recovery.
That's
So
certainly
excited
great
about
news.
that. Yeah, start off with some great news, and they're smiling, and I know they're listening right now. So, we didn't perform real well. We needed Hunter to complete more passes. Obviously, everybody's cued in on L.J. Turner in that run game, and he did bust some later on. But they were locked in on him, and we needed to complete some balls out on the edges, and it took us a while to get going on that.
You mentioned L.J. Turner. In the second half, you had 3 really big plays go your way in that ball game. The first was that 75-yard run by L.J. Turner, and I think we know how he keeps doing it. That's a credit to your offensive line.
Yes, tight ends to LJ himself, and we're going to keep feeding him, and it's going to be 3-4, 75. It's just no one's going to be able to contain him for an entire game. It would have been nice to get 2 or 3 or more of those 75-yarders, but yeah, the O-line continues to play well, and we're hanging our hat on the run game.
So after that 75-yard run, the score's 13-7, stays that way for a long time. Newberry gets a nice drive. Looks like they're going to kick a field goal to go ahead by 9 points. And then they have a bad snap, and the holder scrambles around, and he heaves one over the line of scrimmage, and it gets batted around. It ends up in the hands of Juice Martin. Now, on the sidelines, were you glad that he caught the ball, or were you yelling, knock it down to get it at the line of scrimmage? What were you doing on the sidelines on that play?
Well, based on the result, I was happy he caught it and did what he did with it. Football coaching would say because it went past the line of scrimmage, knock it down. But we trust our guys, and they don't call him Juice for nothing. So he caught the ball, made something special happen. We needed him to make a play, somebody make a play, and that's what he did.
And he certainly got terrific blocking. So your guys, was there a call that he gives out when you get the ball, or they knew to block? They got out ahead of him and got him down the field.
Yeah, well, when they're kicking a field goal, that's our defense that's out there. And we do drills all the time, turnover drills, where whether it's an interception from a holder throwing it up or a quarterback or a fumble scoop, you get to the near sideline, you get blocks. Evan, who's also here, Evan Simons, actually blocked 2 guys for him, and Juice made the kicker miss. So, yes, we practiced that, and it showed up.
Then the other big play, 2 plays later on Newberry's next drive, Juice intercepts one again, almost got into the end zone, but they knocked him out of bounds at the 7, and LJ took it in from there. But another big defensive play, and that attributed to the pressure you were getting on their quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. The quarterback was comfortable all day, and like you said, to have 2 big turnovers like that, we're going to continue to bring pressure. I just think that's kind of where we're at defensively, and we're making plays.
And then at the end of the game, I think in the second half to that point, before their last 2 drives, you'd held them to 83 yards, I believe, to that point in the second half. Then they went 156 yards and 2 touchdown drives. Was that because they just had a big, experienced offensive line and they just wore your team down a little bit? I know you tried to keep a lot of fresh guys in there, but that's a big, experienced team.
Yeah, they're a big, experienced team, absolutely older than us. They made plays at the end of the game where we didn't, and that's Heartbreak Hotel that we're not living in, but that's kind of what it was. I don't like to dig into stats a whole lot, but you've got to look at it. We've been ahead in every single game minus our opener late in the fourth quarter. We've been ahead in every single game late in the fourth quarter against all these teams minus our opener. We have got to finish, and it can't just be me saying it. It's got to be us practicing it, preaching it, and eventually our guys are going to win another late one, and it's just going to feed on itself.
If the game was 1 minute shorter, you'd be 5-2, and it'd be celebration time in town.
Yeah.
So
it's coming.
How's the attitude in practice? Everybody's still upbeat. They know they're playing well. Just continue to grind and be ready each week.
Yeah, yes and no. I think, when things go wrong, I think it shows you what your character really is as a team, as a coach, as a player, as a person, as a husband, as a father. When things don't go great, how do you respond to adversity? And what we have found is what we're doing right now isn't quite enough. There's another level of execution late in the game that you've got to do that. So, yes, the energy's there and the guys are there, but guys are beat up a little bit. My shoulder hurts. Do I really want to do this again? And that's where we put our head down to the ground, and we're just moving forward, marching with the guys that are ready to go.
Okay, so we'll get you back here at the end of the show to talk about the upcoming game against Wingate. But let's get a couple of those defensive standouts out here. You mentioned Juice Martin, who had the big 89-yard interception return, and also a second interception to get you in scoring position. And a guy that's been playing lights-out football all season long on that defensive side, Evan Simons, who is in what they call the star position. He's certainly been a star on that defensive side so far this year for the Catawba Indians. Now, Juice, you're from Macon, Georgia, by way of UNC Charlotte, and I want to congratulate you. You were named the South Atlantic Conference Special Teams Player of the Week this past week. And I guess, I'm thinking you should have been a Defensive Player of the Week, but because one happened on a botched field goal attempt, they gave you the Special Teams Award. That's quite an honor. Tell us about your thought process when that ball was in the air, getting batted around. What was your thought process on that play?
Ooh. First, I have to give a big thanks to the Graham family. But so I saw the ball tipped in the air from one of our D linemen. As soon as I caught it, I don't know. I was just ready to go, and I have to go score. So like, ever since I caught it, I was running back to the field side. I saw the tight end in front of me about to tackle me. I was gonna pitch it back to our safety, Dino. So after that, he slipped. As soon as he slipped, I had to take off. I knew as soon as I seen green grass, I was gone. Then I saw a punter. I'm not letting no punter tackle me, so yeah, I had to go.
And then you got a big block down the sidelines by this guy right here, Evan Simons.
Yes, I did.
You slowed down and set up the block for him, didn't you, to get you the rest of the way?
Most definitely.
But now you told me, what did you tell me earlier?
I told him that Juice, he a little slow, so, you know, I had to use my speed to catch up to him.
Well,
He had to use his speed to catch up to me.
so that was certainly a big play. And then you come back 2 plays later, you get that pick right in the middle of the field. You're headed to the pylon, but they kind of had you outnumbered on that one, didn't let you get to the end zone.
Yeah, it was 4 against 2. I was most definitely excited to change the game and catch the interception. But when I saw 4 against 2, somebody had to pay, so I got the receiver. So.
Okay, and now Juice, you've played cornerback last year.
Yes, sir.
You've switched positions back there in the secondary. You're in a new position.
Yes, sir.
Strong safety, I believe you told me you're playing, right?
Yes, sir. Boundary safety, sir.
Is that a more challenging position? Is it harder to play there? More things you have to look at from the offensive perspective, or is it just same thing back there in the secondary?
If anything, it's probably more of a thinking game. I probably have to think a little bit more than at corner. At corner, you get the call. All right, cool. I know what to do. At safety, you have to look at certain things like maybe the end line, the tight end, maybe where the running back is set up, how the X or Z receiver is set up. But other than that, Coach T. Overman, the whole defensive staff, they make sure that we know exactly what to do and how to do it before we go into the game. And we prep very, very, very hard during the week. So it's not bad at all. I'm always ready for a challenge no matter what.
Now, you talked about getting the call. When they call a defense out there, they don't just say, 4-2 and slant right or what. They're making a call for the line, a call for the secondary. How does all that work when they call that play in?
Simple math. Like, if there's 3 things to say, listen to the last one for us in the back end. But like I said, it's all for preparation. We go over it in meetings. We go over it on the field. So the calls are pretty simple. We could have 10 things to say. We know which names or which calls to go for. So.
Okay. Now, Evan, you're out of Chesapeake, Virginia. You're a redshirt sophomore this year. You came by way of Lewisburg College. Now, I look back at your background and your bio. In high school, you passed for 943 yards and 10 touchdowns. Ran for 658 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Do you miss playing offense?
Oh, nah, I don't actually. I don't like getting hit. So,
So you like being the guy to deliver the hits.
yeah.
And you certainly made some big ones last week. And you had one that was a textbook play, right? The coach always tells you to run through the player. And you certainly did that on a couple last week and just crunched some people.
Oh, yes, sir. Yeah, I had to. I ain't gonna hold you. I had to.
Now, going back to your high school career, I also saw that you were first-team All-State in baseball. So what position did you play, and what were some of your batting average and other stats in baseball?
I was mainly an outfield player. I played a little bit of left field, a little bit of right field, and I think I batted 343, and I had 4 home runs with 23 RBIs. So.
Coach Gann ever talk to you about maybe sneaking over in the spring?
Nah, I want him to, though. I want to play baseball bad. Like, I just want to get out there again.
Okay, now I was looking at your stats, too. Last season, 51 tackles on the season. You already have 51 tackles this year. What's been the difference for you out there on the football field to let you make more plays?
I feel like I've been more aggressive this year. I feel like I trust my instincts this year, trust my film watching and stuff like that. So I feel like it's all coming together this season.
And we talk about your position. They call it the star position. is it kind of a hybrid linebacker, defensive back position? And how do you know where you're lining up on most plays?
For the most part, just know I'm gonna be on the field side or to the passing strip. So I'll make that call. You know, Coach O, he'll give us, you know, the call, whatever, and then I'll say start left, start right. So that's how it goes pretty much.
And then as you're looking at the offensive alignment, what are you keying on at the start of the play to figure out whether it's run or pass and figure out where you're going?
It all depends. So if Coach O gives a specific call, I'm mostly keying in on the tackle. If he gives another call, I'm just keying on that wide receiver.
And now when you're out there in the defensive huddle, who's in charge of that defensive huddle? Is it you at a linebacker position? Who's kind of the quarterback of the defense?
Safety.
Who?
Safety.
No.
Safety.
Nah.
No, he sets the field. He sets the field, but we still have to give off the calls and the checks. So safety. But he still starts it off, though. I will give him that. He starts it off first.
And you told us last year you got your nickname because you watched the play and said you have to bring your own juice to be ready to play. And does he certainly bring the juice out there on the defensive side of the ball?
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes. Matter of fact, no, I take that back all the time, yeah, all the time.
Now, who's the guy that's the most serious guy in that defensive huddle to make sure everybody's in the right place and not slacking out there? Who's the guy in charge? Juice, okay.
It ain't true.
Oh, my fault.
Then is there
Juice
anybody?
Martin, my fault.
Is there anybody out there defensively that is kind of the jokester, the guy that keeps everybody loose no matter how it's going out there to keep you relaxed and ready to play football?
Oh, that's me, for sure. Yeah, that's me.
So there we go. We got the guy in charge and we got the guy that keeps everybody loose. So that's why that defense is working so well out there. So keep up the good work and look for a big performance this week against those Wingate Bulldogs. So
Yes, sir.
congratulations on a good season so far.
Thank you.
Keep it up this week.
Yes, sir.
So now we're going to switch sports again. As usual, we have a coach and some athletes from other sports here. And now we're going to switch to swimming. And we're going to bring up head coach Matthew Gearing. He's in his third season now as the men's and women's swimming coach at Catawba. And he was named the South Atlantic Conference Men's Coach of the Year last season. And the program has really been soaring to new heights in the last 3 seasons since you've come on board. So what has been the key to all that success?
Yeah, we've had a lot of success into the third season now, so 2 seasons down. I think the big key is all these people out here. I think it's the culture that is hands down the most important thing. We've got, I don't know, looks like most of our team here. Most of these guys are swimming tomorrow morning at 5:30. So the fact that they're here supporting us and the athletes that are going to be on in a little bit, I think that shows the culture, shows the support that we have for the program, and you'll hear from the athletes just the goals that they have.
Now, I know players in other sports are dedicated, but when you realize the training that swimmers go through, would you say they're the most dedicated or among the most dedicated athletes in any sport?
Obviously, I'm a little biased on that one, but I would agree with that. We go a full 20 hours a week. Everybody here swims 9 times per week. They're in the weight room 2 to 3 times per week. They're putting in a lot of hard work. Some of the other head coaches always like to come by my office and tell me when they're doing doubles, and it's like, we're doing this every day, the whole year. So, it's a testament of their hard work, their determination, and ultimately what they want to achieve.
And all that work for events that range anywhere from 25 seconds to 2 minutes or so.
Yeah, we have some that go up towards the 17-minute mark. We're really getting our bang for a buck on those ones. But yeah, we have all the way from 19 seconds to, some of those hundreds are in the 50 mark and then up to 17. So it's not a lot of performance time, but the amount of performance that they do takes a lot of training to be able to perform at their best.
And you mentioned some of the swimmers out there. One of those guys out there is Max Minikowski, and he was the South Atlantic Conference Men's Swimmer of the Year. And you have a lot of other top performers out there as well. You got to have the key performers that step up and really shine. But how do you get those people? How do you find them, and how do you get them to come to Catawba?
Gosh, good question. I think a lot of it is them trusting in us, trusting in myself, trusting in our staff, our assistant coaches. Again, this is my third year, so me being able to sell myself because of where the program was at, and them taking a chance and trusting us, and understanding that they're going to come and build something that's bigger than themselves. They have an opportunity to leave a legacy through their 4 years here at Catawba that's hopefully going to live on well beyond their graduation, and they're passing it down to now the freshmen that are here, and they're going to pass it down to the next year's freshmen, and it's just going to trickle down.
And speaking of legacy, your women's team has had the top GPA in the country for 4 straight semesters. The men are up there too, so that's
Yep.
all part of that legacy, right?
It is. It's a massive part of the legacy. The women want to keep that spot. The men really wanted to hit it and be up there with the women last year, and they did it for the fall. We fell off a little in the spring. I give them a hard time on that, but third in the country is still not too bad. But yeah, that is something that we talk about. We have goals of what we want to do in the classroom. Midterm grades have come out. We're in a good spot, I think. And so that's something that, we want to continue doing that as long as we can.
And also on the legacy side, Catawba participates in the Day of Giving, and I understand that your swim team usually performs pretty well as far as what you need to get out of them on the Day of Giving.
Yeah. Again, testament to our team. We had 100% of our current student athletes donate back to the program. That's a massive testament of what we're doing. They want us to be able to support them. We had a lot of parents. We had a lot more alumni this year, which was fantastic. All of that money is going back to them. It's being able to support them, giving them the experience that we feel they deserve, and just helping them be able to perform at their best.
And how has the season gone so far, and what are you looking for coming up down the road?
Yeah, well, we've had 2 competitions up to this point. We faced some really good teams. Our first competition, early October, we had 2 Division I teams, East Carolina University women's only, and then Gardner-Webb, both men and women. We beat Gardner-Webb. Both our men and women's team beat a Division I program in Gardner-Webb. That was really big. That was our second time for our women in 2 years to be able to beat them. First time for our men, and we're going to see them again in January, so that'll be a fun one. ECU, we had on the women's side, we won 5 events, which is really impressive versus a very good ECU team. And then just this past weekend, we had Queens University of Charlotte came to home, which was awesome. They are now a Division I team. They used to be Division II. Back when they were Division II, they won 14 national championships. So they're a good team, and we came and competed really well with them. We won 6 events. We set 4 school records in October. We got 9 NCAA B cuts. We had 4 lifetime bests. Again, this is October 18th. These are things that should not be happening, but they are, and I think that sets us up really well for where we move from here. We have Wingate a week from tomorrow, and then our senior day a week from Saturday versus Barton.
All right, Coach Gearing, thanks for joining us here. And let's talk to a couple of your key swimmers. On the men's side, we're going to have Rowan Viles step up here representing the men's team, and representing the women's team will be Marit Reckman. So we'll get you settled in here. Rowan is from Deerfield, Massachusetts. He's a sophomore. And I looked at your bio. You were the New England breaststroke champion. So you're really good in the breaststroke. You set a Catawba record just over 2 minutes, 2 minutes and 55 hundredths of a second in a recent meet. And you're also a key member of that medley relay team, 200 and 400. How did you become a breaststroke specialist?
So I started swimming pretty late compared to how early some other people get into the sport, and I kind of just gravitated towards breaststroke, and I just kind of stuck with it.
And then how did you determine you were going to come to Catawba? How did you find Catawba, or did they find you?
So I actually met with the old head coach here, and I loved the campus, really loved kind of the environment here, but I wasn't sold on the coach too much. I saw that Matthew got hired, and I actually reached back out to him, and we started talking, and luckily he gave me the opportunity to swim here.
And how has your experience at Catawba been so far to this point?
Oh, it's been great. I've never been a part of a team like this. Just getting to train with all these people every day. I know it sounds like a cliche, but we really are like a family. Just, I get to train with my best friends,
And Marit, congratulations to you. You were named the South Atlantic Conference Swimmer of the Week in women's swimming. And you had great performances in the 50 and 100 freestyle. You have the third best time in the country in the 50 free, 23.47. So outstanding performance there. Now you came to Catawba from Nienhagen, Germany.
Yes.
How did you find Catawba, or how did they find you?
Okay, so for a lot of internationals, we just look at our agencies that promote us to basically, they put us out there, make a video of us, and put our times out there, and then coaches reach out to us. So I was actually recruited by Coach Sever, the older coach, which I think all of us can agree that it's been a blessing that Matthew can't come to Catawba and is our head coach now. So it's been great now, yes.
And I saw that you also participated on a record-breaking 200 medley relay, so you have some pretty good teammates out there as well.
Yes, I love this team. This team has been nothing I've ever been a part of. The culture in Germany is also very different, but what I've seen here, it's been amazing. It really is like a family. Everybody is there for each other. You can always lean on each other, and really the part that brings us together most is just how much we practice together and the hard practices we go through. So it's been great since I've come here.
And how do you feel so far about your performance this season and your team's performance, and what do you expect down the road?
It's been great. Like you said, we already broke some school records, which is amazing. We've had 2 dual meets, and we've already gone so far. And we just set those records the previous years as well. So it's been super fun. I'm really looking forward to getting, especially a relay, to the NCAAs, and also for myself, just getting out there and holding where we're at right now.
And Rowan, how would you evaluate your performance and your team's performance so far, and what are you looking for?
Yeah, I'm super proud of both the men's and the women's team, especially against Queens this past week. We really stepped up, where we needed to. And then as a men's team, we have some pretty high goals, which I think we're very capable of achieving. Me personally, I also have pretty extensive goals, which I've talked with Matt with, but really I'm just focused on being the fastest swimmer I can and being the best leader I can for this team.
All right, so congratulations on how things have gone so far, and best of luck to you in the future. Great to have you on the show. Now we got to wrap it up and talk some more football with Coach Haynes. So thanks for joining us. Big game coming up Saturday at Wingate. It's a homecoming game for Wingate. Kickoff at 3 p.m. Our pregame show on Memories Radio will start at 2:30, so if you can't make it to the game, you can tune in on Memories Radio to listen to the game. And Coach Haynes, your team's going to have their work cut out for them. This Wingate defense may be the best in the conference.
Yeah, one of the best in the country. I think they're giving up 193 yards, which in football statistics is really good. I think they're second in the country right now in total defense.
And their run defense has been phenomenal. They held UVA-Wise to -1 yard and 70 yards total when they played them. They've only given up 339 rushing yards in the entire season. That's how many L.J. Turner had through his first 4 games of the season, by the way. Yeah. So, and they've had 4 players already this year named the South Atlantic Conference Defensive Player of the Week. So that defensive line and linebacker core for Wingate is stout.
Yeah, they're all 6th and 7th year guys. So I think when you have that continuation, Coach Reich had it rolling and turned it over to his defensive coordinator, who's now the head coach. That team stayed intact, and in my opinion, was the favorite coming into this year to be the SAC champion. And it's all built on that defensive line. The linebackers, their stats are unbelievable.
You mentioned their coaching change. Frank Reich moved over to. Joe Reich. Frank Reich played quarterback. Yeah. Joe Reich moved from the head coach to the athletic director spot, and one of his assistants took over. Yep. Last week, Jericho Cotry was in his first year. Sometimes it's not always because a coach isn't doing well and they replace him. Sometimes they move on to something else, and they're in a good position. They leave a quite experienced team. That's kind of what you're dealing with again here.
Yeah, college football is crazy. And again, I think, not to get off gear too much, but my brother is at Indiana. And Indiana football has been down forever. and they're 7-0. I think they're ranked 9th in the country. It's a brand new staff, and anything can be done. It's all about energy, execution, team camaraderie. You hear the swimmers talking about family, all those things. College football is crazy. It doesn't really matter. You never really know how it's going to play out. Just gotta do it together.
So is there a little more pressure on your running game this week in the offensive line with this defensive front? Because if they make you one-dimensional and have to pass a lot, it could be a long day.
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, I think, okay, they're really good at stopping the run, so then you drop back to pass. What are those D linemen doing now? Now they're rushing your quarterback. So they're good. We need to do a good job of chipping them, which, that's running backs getting a little extra block in. That's tight end maybe getting a little chip. But we've got to have the ability to slow down that defensive line with run, pass, screen, draw. We've got to get a little creative to do some things that they haven't seen before.
And it will be the same defensively. You're going to keep cranking up, dialing up a little more pressure. They got a pretty balanced offense, but you might have some tricks to keep them off balance.
Yeah, we're going to be aggressive. We're going to be who we are. Their offense is pretty good. Again, they're a conference champion caliber team, but the strength is their defense. So we need our defense to be aggressive and make some plays like we did last week to give us some short fields, maybe put some points on the board defensively.
Coach, what are you most proud of your team so far to this point in the season?
Their grit. We talk about it all the time. I know I texted President Nelson about some of our games have been very gritty. We are a gritty football team. Some things have happened to us that you can't explain, and I've been coaching for 16 years. And, again, not an excuse, but that's the hand that we have been dealt. And we continue to show up to practice, work hard, represent Catawba College, Salisbury, our families, our friends, to the very best of our ability every single week.
All right, Coach, that's another quick show, so let's take us out.
Yep, yes, sir. Cat U on 3, 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone, for coming again. We'll be back here next week, and feel free to dress up. It's a Halloween show on next Thursday, so if you want to dress up, wear your finest Halloween outfit.